U.S. government oversight of defense articles continues long after they have physically left the country. Every item remains under strict ITAR control for its entire functional lifespan. When a foreign buyer intends to move an ITAR-controlled item to a new end use, a new end user, or a destination not approved in the original license, they trigger the specific rules for re-exports and retransfers. Consider a common scenario. A foreign customer legally receives hardware, but later decides to hand it off to a secondary foreign contractor for integration. Without prior authorization, this secondary transfer is illegal. Assumed approvals do not exist. Verbal agreements between contractors, or the fact that the third party is located in an allied nation, provide no legal cover. The hardware cannot move until the Directorate of Defense Trade Controls, or DDTC, issues written approval. This is the DECC's interface. To obtain written approval, you submit a Form DS-6004, commonly called a General Correspondence Request, by navigating to the Commodity Jurisdiction application within this portal. The first mandatory step is establishing the item's history. You must link your new request directly to the original authorization, such as the specific DSP-5 license or technical assistance agreement that first moved the hardware. Next, the form requires exact identification of the parties involved. You need to clearly distinguish between the current possessor holding the hardware right now and the proposed new recipient. You must also provide a specific justification and scope for the transfer. You need to detail exact use cases, such as depot-level maintenance or participation in a specific joint military exercise. Failing to accurately tie the retransfer request back to the original export vehicle breaks the documented chain of custody. The DDTC will return these applications without action, halting your operation. The most common point of friction in these applications is the Form DSP-83, also known as the Non-Transfer and Use Certificate. This form is mandatory anytime the transfer involves significant military equipment, or SME, as well as classified articles and data. These items carry higher risks and require documented assurance. An executed DSP-83 requires physical signatures from 3 specific parties: the foreign consignee, the foreign end user, and the original applicant. Let's test this logic. If you are transferring a non-SME tactical headset to a repair facility and simultaneously transferring an SME targeting pod to a new aircraft, which one requires the DSP-83? The targeting pod requires it due to its SME designation. The DSP-83 creates a legally binding contract. It ensures that the entities receiving top-tier defense articles take direct personal and corporate liability for preventing any further unauthorized diversion. Once you submit the DS-6004, it enters an interagency adjudication pipeline. The application first goes to the DDTC, which routes it through the Department of Defense for a technical review, before a final decision is made. During this interagency review, the hardware must remain completely frozen in place. It cannot be shipped, integrated, or put to use by the new end user. Physical movement can only begin when the pipeline concludes and you possess the official finalized approval letter from the DDTC. Obtaining the approval letter is not the final step. Under ITAR Part 123, you bear strict record-keeping responsibilities for all finalized temporary exports and retransfers. You must maintain all records regarding the export, foreign disposition, and return of the articles. These must be kept for a minimum of 5 years from the date the license expires, or 5 years from the final transaction. Mastering the DCCS-GC process and maintaining flawless records protects both the exporter's license and national security. These are the mandatory mechanisms for maintaining a legal chain of custody.